Welcome back to the Hometown Podcast, where we learn beyond what we're taught and we know beyond what we're here. Today, our special guest is Kim Cox. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Hey.
Great to have you. This is just a continuation of some episodes we're doing that we're trying to introduce our employees to our customer, get them to know a little bit more about you. Then also, it's a kind of a secondary thing, but we've found that a lot of our employees don't even know all of our backgrounds, right? So not that we're going to examine every single thing, but, just some general understanding of who Kim Cox is, where, your hometown, where you're from, that kind of thing. Where'd you go to school? How did you make it to your way to Blount County if you ever left Blount County? So that's kind of what this purpose of this is just an introduction. So feel free to interject anything you need to. If it's the Poison concert, then that'll be great.
So when I was younger, I was telling you what my first concert was, MC Hammer.
Yeah.
And so me and my friend, we had made a deal with each other that if I would go with her to the Poison Warrant concert, then she would go with me to the MC Hammer concert. And I was explaining that the MC Hammer concert, is really clean. He was talking about God and, there was prayer and all this. And then when we went to the Poison Warrant concert, it was the total opposite of all that. And I was just kind of upset that I'd went with her, but I'd already made that decision, so I had to follow through. And
yeah, in today's world, you could go out to YouTube and actually see a concert before you got there to realize what you gotten yourself into, I guess.
That's right. But it wasn't, it wasn't that way
we
back then.
We didn't have that information.
No, when you showed up, then you realized what it was, what it was about.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, well, we're here, so we'll have to just live it for a minute, So where are you from, Kim?
So I am originally from Coleman County, from a little town called Holly Pond.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up. Actually, that's where my mom, she still lives, and I have one brother. He lives there also, have a lot of cousins, extended family that live there. What brought me to Blount County, there was a little bit of a journey before I got here when I left Holly Pond. I met Gary. We met through a mutual friend. He lived at Palmerdale. Of course, I was living at Holly Pond. And so I had to share a little bit of the story. The mutual friend set us up. We went out on our first date. And so after our first date that next week, which, I was kind of like, he had me at hello.
Oh,
I know
really?
that's like a cliche thing to say, but yes, I just kind of knew he's the one.
Gary.
So the first week after our first date, we're talking, he tells me he loves me. And I look at him and I said, we've been dating 1 week. You don't even know me. And he said, no, I know. So here we are, December 4th, we'll be celebrating our 33rd wedding anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
So I think I can say I believe him now.
Yeah. Well, that's a great story. So from then, okay, so you came back, did you go to Holly Pond High School?
Yes, I graduated from Holly Pond High School, and then I did attend Wallace.
And then came here.
And then, yes, when me and Gary, we got married in 1992, and he was living at Rimlap. He had a house there, so we moved there. That was our first home where we lived, and in a couple of years, we had Lindsay, our oldest daughter, and then in a couple more years, we had Kristen, our youngest daughter.
Oh, okay.
And they are 31 and 29. That's just still blows my mind how they grow up so fast. And Lindsay, she just recently got engaged a couple of weeks ago, so we're going to gain a son. They've been dating a couple of years, and we're just really, really excited about that.
You're just going through the chapters of life, and they're all good. I mean, it's just a matter of recognizing that and then, kind of embracing it and living it. So what brought you to hometown? Like your first job, how does your work life go here?
So I call Hometown Bank my third career job. My first career job was working for a tire wholesale company. I worked there for a few years. And then Gary and I, when we had Lindsay, we made the decision that we wanted to have a parent at home. So I actually stayed home for about 12 years. Once girls got older, out of school and all that, I was ready to go back to work, to a career job, which, being at home and raising a family is not for the faint of heart. I mean, it is difficult. But I'm just glad that we were able to do that. We just decided that, we weren't going to have car payments, that we did what we had to do to make that work. But unfortunately, Gary's mom, when Lindsay was just not very old, she passed away, and she was kind of our person that we had thought, was going to help us out in that respect. And when my family living further away, we decided to make that decision. But I just feel like it all worked out. It was all just kind of like God's plan, because when I started working here, it was just different from anywhere I've ever worked before, but in the best possible ways.
We're kind of a product of all our experiences, the good ones and the bad ones. I tell folks that, and it's important that we understand that, and we know that, it's all part of the plan. Like you say, it's all God's plan. And when you get past all that, then you can kind of take the harder times a little easier, maybe. But doesn't make them any easier at the time. But you got to know that later on it might not be. But so you came to work here. So how long have you been with the bank?
11 years.
11 years. So we have got a stream of double digits here. I've shared our tenure, our average number of years people have been here is somewhere in the neighborhood of between 11 and 12. So that's pretty high for a 22-year-old company. But we pride ourselves on that, and we enjoy it. So what makes it unique? What makes it different, you said?
Some other places that I've worked in the past that I thought was going to be a career, after 5 years, I get extremely bored, because in that 5-year period, I did the same thing every day, day after day. And it's just like within those companies, there just wasn't place for growth. That wasn't encouraged. And working here, I learned real quick that that's strongly encouraged.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like I could ever go back to an environment where that is not the case. And then here, there's a lot of trust placed in us employees, and we're empowered to make decisions. That was very different from any other place I've ever worked before. But like I said, it's just best in all the ways. I mean, I've been here 11 years, and I'm still not bored. I am still not bored. And there's always something new to learn.
And I'm not bored. So.
And I feel challenged. I'm excited to get up and come to work. I mean, of course, we all have those days where you can have an overwhelming day. You get home and you just think, what the heck? But the thing is that all the good days definitely outnumber those days. And you're like, if I can get through today, tomorrow's going to be okay.
Well, we face a lot of challenges, and we're managing people's money. We're accounting for that. So people get really, really passionate, and sometimes we have to manage that passion. And, we've talked about this all the time, but you just have to take that red light that's on their head when they walk in and make it a green light before they leave. And that's the key. But, what about outside the bank? What kind of things do you enjoy doing when you're not at work?
So outside of work and outside of going to church, what I really like doing, like in my free time, off time, is I am a crazy sports person. Love to watch all things college football, and I love college basketball. I'm the crazy type. I will take a pillow and toss it across the room, get up and pace and huff and puff, and then Gary's like, why are you acting like that? But I have a cool story to share if I can share.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you always share.
What got me so excited about college football is I think I was around 11 or 12 years old, and I was at my grandma's. And so I was in one of the little bedrooms, I was playing, and my uncle and my dad, they were in there watching a college football game. All of a sudden, I just start hearing them just screaming, yelling. I'm like, what are they doing? So I run in there, and I'm looking, and my uncle, his knuckles are bleeding. Well, my uncle had jumped up because he was so excited about a play that he hit the ceiling. And when I saw that, I was like, this is great. And so that got me interested in football. And then I started watching it. And so from there, I've never looked back.
We are crazy
Never
about
looked
our
back.
football around here.
So
that's
roll
for
tide,
sure.
by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, that's and it's kind of interesting when I travel, different states or whatever. If they find out I'm from Alabama, the very first thing they ask me is, "Are you an Alabama fan or an Auburn fan?"
I know the answer to that.
And well, I was always an Alabama fan, and then with 2 children going to Auburn and graduating at Auburn, now one working at Auburn, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of in between. Really, I'm just kind of lukewarm on it now. But there for a while, adamant Alabama, and don't know that I ever bloodied my knuckles or anything like that. But that is a good story, though, because that's just how intense we take it sometimes. But that also, you can say that that's not a good thing, but I feel like it is. To be passionate about anything, is a good thing. So you enjoy you enjoy all the sports, and you watch all the sports or do the sports, and
I'll back up a little bit. Like my favorite thing to do, of course, is spend time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
My daughters, my girls, they're everything. And I don't think I mentioned, but the youngest one, she lives in Atlanta. So she is living her best life, and I'm living my worst nightmare, because the rule was that you weren't supposed to move away from mom, it couldn't be over an hour, but obviously she ignored that, but that's okay. But I'm just really proud of them. And like I said, family time is just everything. And now it just seems like with them older, her living in Atlanta, and then now my oldest one getting married, those times that we truly get to all be together and spend time, just seems like it just gets fewer and far between.
Yeah, it will make a circle. I found that, we kind of circle back around now. We all have grown children, and so the grown children are getting together instead of, including the parent or the grandparent or whatever. So that's always kind of interesting. This whole chapters of life thing is something's going to be talked about, written about, or something. But I'm sure it's written about out there. But anyway, that's coming, and you're going to enjoy it. I promise you. Especially adding a son. So when are they getting married?
They are looking at November of next year. And by the way, so there's a thing now called elopement, and that's what they're kind of thinking about.
Yeah.
But I just tell my daughter I support anything that you decide to do.
Interesting, because they changed the law, and I can't remember when exactly this occurred, but we can actually marry people in the bank, and I think it's the notary. I'm not really sure.
Yes.
Have you ever married anybody, Kim?
Yes, several couples. They go to the courthouse. They print out the form.
Mm-hmm.
They fill it in. They come in and we notarize the document, and then they take it back to the courthouse, and then they have it filed. And that's pretty much it. It can be that simple.
I was so surprised talking to one of our employees, Bree, and she's got married here. So she said, "Oh well, I got married here. Random married us." So that's totally different now. So
yeah, it's kind of cool. We kind of wish sometimes, we kind of joked about it, that we wish that when we do that we could just press this button and confetti just starts falling, and just music starts playing and all the things. But
make it a little different.
Yeah,
make
it a little different.
Yeah. Well, we probably just need to call them, get them over in the corner and, get some of those little popping whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find somebody that can help us with that. And we'll get those things going, and then start, next thing we know, we got us a whole separate Facebook page strictly for that purpose. But marriages at hometown or something like that. I don't know. Making home at hometown. I don't know. But we'll come up with something.
Maybe I could talk my daughter into doing that.
Yeah.
She's thinking about going to Savannah, Georgia, but maybe we could shift that to hometown.
Yeah. Why not?
And then I could be there.
Yeah. Why not? Well, Kim, one more thing. What is it that you're really enjoying about life? I know your children are reaching an age that is different, but what is it that you're really kind of enjoying about life right now? What that you're really interested in? Y'all have things you do, you and your husband, or folks that like I said, a hobby or something like that y'all do or engage in?
To us, a little bit of heaven is just like the end of the day, just us. When we have our conversation, when we have our, when we're eating dinner, that's when we talk about our day. I know this just sounds so simple, and then like going out on our front porch, just relaxing, just enjoying each other.
Simplicity and quiet is very underrated nowadays. We just should really embrace it and enjoy it. It's there for us, and we should enjoy it. So, thanks again for your time, Kim. I know it's very valuable, and I appreciate the time and the things that you do for us as the bank. And thanks for sharing a little about yourself too, because that's important. And I know it's not easy, but we appreciate that. So
You're
thanks
welcome.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining in on our hometown podcast, and hang on. We'll see you next time.